This is exactly how I saw the game between Hull City and Manchester United yesterday. I'm recording this a day after the game, and if I'm being completely honest, I'm not even sure if I want to do this. Knowing it's the first game of the season compared to the expectations we had after the strong end to the last season. Obviously, there was a lot of momentum building up into the new season. Then we were kind of hit with a different reality during the transfer market, and I would say the inconsistent preseason as well, and the fact that different players were returning from the World Cup at a separate time, um, really contributed and resulted in what we saw yesterday. I will go through some individual performances for each and every player that featured yesterday. But I would say that the overall impression of the game was that United were just not good enough in any aspect whatsoever. Sure, you can argue that we don't know how to defend against low block teams, that Sheshko wasn't ready to start the game, who is the only out and out striker we have in our team. We started, I mean, on paper, it was Cunha who started, but I felt like the formation was so fluid, but in a negative sense of the word, that the players didn't actually know what they were doing. Um, and just the complete lack of, of drive and no sense of urgency whatsoever in, I would say, every player bar Harry Maguire, which in and of itself really sounds completely ironic considering the amount of talent we are supposed to have, especially, I mean, of course, the front three um, or and in midfield as well. I mean, looking at the new recruits, they were expecting and they are expected to make us play. They are expected to make us stick and to play forward passes in a way that will allow us to organize the game very well. There was none of that. There was none of that whatsoever. We looked like a struggling team. We looked like a fatigue side, especially compared to Hull. We were less physical. There was less drive, less desire, and I would say not enough idea of what we want to do as a team. Like, what is Manchester United identity? What are the principles of our play? So many question marks, um, so many uh, things that we are yet to answer. And I feel like it's going to be a long season, and we're going to be searching for those answers for a very, very long time. Um, you know, I don't want to comment on any other teams, but I would say that this season uh, is going to be Arsenal's to lose the title, which would have sounded very strange even a year ago. But now with the recent changes of managers, especially with the so-called title contenders that we have other than Arsenal, uh, I feel like on the other five or six or seven teams are going to be fighting out for a top five, not anymore top four, but top five finish. And I really wouldn't be surprised if some of the lesser teams actually made it to the Champions League next season. Um, this will be a real test of our squad's depth. The absence of Ahmad was definitely a big blow to our side. But listen, it's not about one player. If there is a system and a clear idea of how you want to play, the fact that one player is missing, except perhaps Bruno Fernandes, who has been absolutely instrumental for us throughout the years, it should be made up for by another player who just comes in and performs straight away. Let's not forget that this is Manchester United we're talking here. And if we go player by player, I felt like Lummens had a decent game. The first goal that we conceded, he almost prevented it. And the fact that Maguire ends up embracing Mazraoui, whereas the other center back from the opponent team just pounces on it. It kind of reminded me of that game that we lost to Tottenham 6-1 a few years back, where he did the exact same thing by holding Luke Shaw in his embrace while they were scoring for fun, and the same thing happened yesterday. So Lamens did okay. Unfortunately, it's not his job to win us games. He's there to prevent goals. Like I said, Maguire, the most proactive player we had yesterday, going forward, which in and of itself just completely blows my mind. Heaven was a highly anticipated one, considering the preseason that he had, the fact that he always makes himself available, the fact that he really performed last season whenever called upon. I mean, just remember the game he had with Mazraoui at center back at the Stamford Bridge the previous season. So for a game like this, I mean, they were absolutely dominated by Ollie McBurney. The guy turned into prime Lewandowski yesterday, and we were just there as passengers, just seeing him outmuscle all of our players. Then every time there was a second ball, we didn't show enough aggression. We didn't want to get stuck in. We were reluctant to do so, and we were very happy to just let them show that they were the big men, whereas we were just playing like children in the park. I felt like it. Uh, Luke Shaw, we talked about this already. This is the shape of things to come for the entire season. We definitely need a new left back. Um, got nothing against him throughout the years, was unlucky with injuries. Uh, Last year, he definitely performed very well against all odds and exceeded everybody's expectations. But if we are to play up to 60 games this season, which, considering the game against Hull, is very unlikely to happen in the cup competitions. He definitely needs not a deputy. Luke Shaw should be our substitute left back, and what we should be focusing on between today and the end of the transfer window is bringing in a left fullback who is willing to run, who is willing to overlap, who can swing those crosses in, who is, just willing to keep going again and again and again, is not afraid to do so, and possesses quality. Are we talking about Lewis Hole as the most obvious example? Yes. Do we know how some might say cautious, others might argue stingy we have proved to be in the transfer market, not willing to overpay? Well, I'm sorry, but overpaying sometimes uh, brings instant quality. And I think the left back position is a non negotiable. You can experiment throughout the season, have Mazraoui or Dallo play there, whereas the other one is playing on the right hand side. Harry Amas is not ready for it. We talked about this already. Uh, on the right hand side, we had Mazraoui, who once again, I have nothing against him. I feel like he is very professional and is a good member of the group, being respected by. He's among the senior players, don't get me wrong. I mean, considering his experience and where he has played throughout his career, as well as his experience on the international stage, he is expected to perform, but he's not going to be the player who brings about a difference. And now, this is a very important part of the conversation. When we're talking about Manchester United, it's not good enough to be talking about players who are good enough. Those players in every single position have to be able to step in and win us a game of football. Uh, who do PSG have in that position? Hakimi, right? You have your Carvajals and whatnot, and Nuno Mendes and Marcelos and players who define the generations. Sure, we're not where we used to be, but if we're aiming to go back there, um, you know, the way this is being done is just not good enough. Midfield, probably. I mean, everything was so poor yesterday. I was just gonna say that the worst part of the team yesterday, especially Tielemans, who looked miles off it, just miles off it. I remember after one tackle, he literally fell with his nose to the ground like a chicken, and he at this point in moment in time he's not ready to be starting football matches. If he's going to play for 15 minutes or for 20 or 25, he should come in for Kobe Mainu, and that's the reality of it. Santos, listen, it's only just the beginning, so let's not be too harsh, but definitely not good enough. Going forward, Dorgu unfortunately was the worst player on the pitch for me yesterday. Decision making of a 5 year old, and I'm not even exaggerating. He doesn't know in which direction his first touch should be. He doesn't know where he should dribble, when he should dribble, um, how exactly he's supposed to be making those runs. I feel this is something that takes coaching. He is incredibly talented, but very raw as well. With his strength and power and pace and everything, he should be an absolute monster. He looks confused on a football pitch. And apart from some flashes of brilliance and some wonder goals that he scored last season, uh, he is not a starter for Manchester United. Um, Mbumo was kind of trying, still not good enough. Cunha, there is also always going to be a question mark as to what exactly is his best position on a football pitch. He started as a nine. Let's call it a false nine because he's definitely not a striker. Uh, I was almost forgetting about Bruno Fernandes, and I think that's everything you need to know about yesterday's game because if he's not the first player to mention in terms of superlatives, and and if he is not being given praise for what he's done, if he's had a poor game of football, it's very likely Manchester United have had a very poor game of football. I haven't been convinced with any of the other players who came on. I felt like Rashford was so predictable, so annoying to watch. Like every time, just waiting for Luke Shaw to pass and overlap, whereas all he does is just pass the ball back to the midfield. One or two decent crosses to Sheshko, unfortunately not good enough. But to me, it looked like we were playing a friendly, and that's something that shouldn't be happening with Manchester United. You saw how this tower collapsed. That's how our game collapsed yesterday. And let's just hope that this is not an indication of what is to happen in the season that's only just gotten started. Let's brace ourselves, and you know, we'll be losing lots of our nerves this season between now and end of May or whenever it is. Come what may, we should support the team just as Carrick should be supported by the board in helping him to recruit the best possible players in order to optimize the league position and everything that is to happen this season. Man, oh man, that was so bad.